for joining the Broadway Drumming 101 podcast with your host, Clayton Craddock.
Today's guest is a little bit of a departure from my previous guests. I've interviewed seasoned veterans from the Broadway scene, but today I'm featuring a future Broadway drumming legend. His name is Jesse Ray Leich. Jesse Ray is from North Kingstown, Rhode Island. He was the drummer for the national tours of Motown the Musical, Something Rotten, and Summer, the Donna Summer Musical. Jesse Ray will be drumming for the Broadway Brown show Mr. Saturday Night with Billy Crystal, and later on in 2022, he's going to be the drummer for the show K-Pop. Stay tuned for more. Welcome to Broadway Drumming 101. My guest today is Jesse Ray Leich from Rhode Island.
Yes,
Actually,
sir.
You're from North Kingston, Rhode Island.
North Kingstown, yeah.
North Kingstown.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, North Kingstown, little small town, smallest state in the country, but we got to represent.
How far, I used to play a lot in Rhode Island with a band that I was in years ago called Evil Twins. And we played the Strand. I don't know if you remember. Is the Strand still around?
Mm-hmm. They might have gotten rid of it recently. I never really hung out that much in Providence, but the Strand, that was like 20, 25 minutes from where I grew up, but everything's so close in Rhode Island. So
that's
I absolutely know exactly. Yeah.
I forgot how small it is. So North really Kingstown, how far away is that from Providence?
From Providence, it's probably about 30 minutes. If you have traffic, 35, 40, but it's not bad at all. Yeah, we're North Kingstown, we're technically southern Rhode Island, if you can call it that. Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up in North Kingstown, and
I did.
Tell me your first musical memory. What's the first thing that you remember?
First musical memory was my mom taking me to drum lessons when I was 4 years old. I had never played anything before, but for whatever reason, my mom just always loved the drums when she was growing up. She never played or anything. She's not musical. My dad's not musical. And fun fact, I'm adopted from Ecuador. So I grew up with white parents in a white household. But for whatever reason, my mom loved music and took me. And it was kind of hard for her at first to get me lessons because I was so young. A lot of different drum studios, they didn't really want to deal with somebody like a kid that was that young. They're like, he's too little, he can't do it. And then she finally found one place that was like, we'll give it a shot. And if it works out, it works out. And we did it. And I honestly don't really remember a time not playing the drums. So it's just kind of been my whole life. And so I guess it just kind of worked out and I stuck to it and I just kind of always loved it from then on.
So your mom introduced you to the drums, in
the drums.
What way?
Yeah. She was just I honestly don't recall the first day, but I just know she just decided to take me to drum lessons. She was probably just like, "Do you want to go to drum lessons?" I said, "Yeah," and I just did it, and it just fit. It's so strange. It's crazy how life works out, and so I'm forever grateful to my mother for taking me to those drum lessons when I was 4. Yeah.
Did she come to any of your first performances when you started playing in bands, or?
Always. Yeah. So, I started really young and then didn't really start doing performances until you get to 5th grade in elementary school and you start doing bands. So I got into bands, started playing snare drum, and always my mom, my dad, extended family, my family pretty much lives in Rhode Island. So everybody would come, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, always supporting me from the start. And that's really what got me to this point today, for sure. Yeah.
So you were in certain bands in middle school or elementary school too?
Actually, even before I started 5th grade band, I was lucky because I was ahead of the game a bit, starting so young. And I had a drum teacher that had a connection to this youth orchestra in Rhode Island. It was a bunch of middle school, high school kids that were playing in bands. And I was 9 years old. I was 4th grade, I think. So the year before band would have started for me, they were like, let's throw this kid in and see how he fits in the mix. And it was a great learning experience for me because at that point I was just kind of playing drum set stuff and snare drum. But now it was like a whole band orchestra. So I was looking at bass drum parts and auxiliary percussion that I had never dealt with before. And those kids really took me under their wing and showed me how all that worked. So we did a few performances with that. And then, I started fifth grade band. And then once I got into the middle school, I started auditioning for the all-state orchestras in Rhode Island. And the good thing about Rhode Island being so small was it was like fairly easy to get into, the all-state level bands. If you cared about it enough, and you really put in the work, you could do it because it was a fairly small pool. So I started doing all-state orchestra, all-state jazz band, and continued doing that through high school as well.
Were you playing in any like rock bands or any other kind of like pop music bands in high school?
Yeah, so that all kicked off when I was in middle school. When I was like, I want to say actually sixth grade, I was in my first like rock band. We were playing like Green Day stuff. It was just me, drums, two guitarists. I don't think we even had a bass player and a singer. Just kind of messing around doing that. And then a couple years later, I was in eighth grade. I got into like my first serious band, and we were playing like a lot of like pop punk music. That was really my thing back then. That what really gave me the drive to play drums. I love the energy of pop punk music. So we were playing Green Day in that band too. This band called Paramore. That's my favorite band.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I have a Paramore tattoo. Like the whole thing. Like My Chemical Romance. We would play all that stuff, and that really helped develop my playing in a way that lessons couldn't really do for me because it was really cool to be able to play with friends and be in a room with them and just kind of play something that we loved. And I remember there was a Paramore DVD that was basically a documentary and performance type film. And I would just be glued to the TV watching that, like watching the drummer. His name's Zach Farrow, one of my favorite drummers. And I would just watch it repeat. And then I would like learn how to play his little nuances. I was like, this is the first time I was, listening to the record and then seeing him play it live. And I was like, okay, so he's kind of like switching it up a bit live and, throwing these little nuances here and there. I want to learn how to do that. So that's kind of what took me out of just reading music and using your ear and just kind of like learning to be more creative with playing the drum. So that was a huge part of my upbringing in music for sure.
So who introduced you to the pop punk scene?
Yeah, it was really just friends. Like I remember we would make little mix CDs. This was like before, like right when iTunes was starting to become popular. It wasn't really a thing yet. So we would like rip songs off of, it was called LimeWire.
Yeah, I remember LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire. Yeah.
I had so many MP3s. I got to tell you a little story.
Yeah.
I had so many MP3s on an external hard drive, and I was going to transfer all of them to another one, which was newer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was about to transfer, and I was going to format the new hard drive, but I formatted the old one, and I got rid of 70,000 MP3s, just gone. My heart was like, oh my God, no. I did not just do that. Oh no. Yeah. So all those
my God.
What was it called again? The format LimeWire was on. What was those
LimeWire, things? Yeah.
What were they called again? I can't remember those websites.
Right. Mm-hmm. I can't remember either what they were called, but I remember it was very illegal. It was very,
it certainly
very
was.
Illegal. It was like a weird time, like right in between like CDs and like online music.
Yeah, right. Like Napster got shut down, so people were like, "Okay, I'm gonna do something else." And floods of music were just coming in. I was like, "I'm gonna get the whole discography of David Bowie." But anyway, I don't know what the statute of limitations is for that stuff. Maybe I should be.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, David.
Say too much. Yeah.
Even though you know what, so I bought all those CDs back in the 90s or 80s and 90s and 2000s, and then I was like, when I found out about iTunes, and then I found out about Spotify, I was like, that's where I'm going. I have the records, then I have the tapes, and I had the CDs. I bought stuff 3 times over. I'm not doing it anymore. So anyway,
right? Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, it was a weird time for sure. Like with music streaming and like getting things like that, it was very strange.
Do you still have those MP3s on a hard drive anywhere?
I don't, but I think I still have my little MP3 player somewhere. Like I'm sure it doesn't work anymore, but I had this little MP3 player that I would throw everything on there.
You remember you used to make stuff and then had to drag the stuff onto your MP3 player and take it with you?
Right, exactly. Yeah, burn it on. Yeah, I know. So strange.
So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Back to your...
No, you're fine. Your question was...
who introduced you to the pop punk?
Who introduced me? Yeah, we were talking about, the mixed CD. So it was just kind of like friends here and there. I would hear like a song here, like Green Day, American Idiot. I was like, okay. I like really dig that stuff. And then I remember like just kind of like walking through Walmart, and I was listening to Green Day a little bit from American Idiot because that was like 2004. So I was probably I was young, like 9 years old. And then I saw a Green Day CD and it was Dookie. And I was young and I was like, Mom, could I get this? And she said, oh, yeah, sure. So picked up the Dookie CD, one of my favorite albums of all time. And I remember taking that to my drum teacher. And he taught me the songs that I wanted to learn. He wrote them out for me, transcribed them, and I got to learn them. And then I remember like after the fact, he went up to my mom and he was kind of like, this music's kind of mature for him. He's like only 9 years old. So you might want to like, take a look at that and hold on to it. So after that, I never saw that Dookie CD again. But I remember like learning that stuff. And that's really what got me into it. And then with the band I was talking about that I played in, that was like my first serious band. We had a female lead singer and she's the one that showed us Paramore because their lead singer is Haley Williams. I had never heard of them before. We started learning some of their songs. Like we were almost like a Paramore cover band, and we would do other things as well. But that's kind of like what really got me into that pop punk scene of everything. And I just love playing that music with friends. Yeah.
Did any of your bands ever write original music?
Yeah. So with that band, we were called Solace. We did write a few songs together. But then we weren't together that long. It was like maybe like 2 years, and then we kind of disbanded. And then through that, I formed another band with the kid that played bass. He's also a really good singer, so I ended up forming a band with him and his brother, and we ended up writing a good amount of songs together. And we had a good run like through high school. Doing Battle of the Bands, we won a couple of times, and again with my parents being so supportive with all my music endeavors. They would help us get these performances for different events throughout Rhode Island. I remember my mom had a friend that's involved in this school called Meeting Street School. It's in Providence, and it's the school for special needs children. And every year they do a telethon where they have people call in and give donations to the school. And 2 years we got to perform for that, and we were broadcast on National Rhode Island News. So it was like a big deal for us, Channel 12 News, but it was like a big deal for us, and it just kind of, helped form my love for performing and, doing this. It made me want to do this as a living.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you ever have any other interests that you wanted to do something else with your life, or you just like, I want to just play drums?
Right. No, I never really did. When I was young, I think I said I wanted to be a police officer so I could eat donuts all day long, but that was about it. I remember that. Yeah, but no, like in all seriousness, I never really had any other interest other than music and playing drums. I always knew that's what I wanted to do. And I had questions about like maybe like being a band director, things like that. But like I once I was in like middle school, high school, I kind of made up my mind that I wanted to do something that had to do with music as a living.
Did you want to be in a band like Paramore or Green Day, or you said, you know what, I want to play Broadway musicals one day?
Right. Yeah. So that's funny. Broadway didn't cross my mind like as a job until like really like my senior year of college. I just knew that I wanted to play drums. It's weird. Like now that I think back at it, like I was looking at colleges and, I want to go to school for drumming. But like, I just wanted to play. Like, I didn't know who I wanted to play for, what I wanted to play for. I just knew I wanted to play drums for a living. I didn't really care. So yeah, I mean, that would have been awesome to play in a band like Paramore, Green Day, whatever. I mean, that's the dream. Like that would be amazing. But yeah, the way that I kind of fell into the Broadway thing was, after we'll go back to I'll go back to my senior year of high school, or even before that. I started playing for Broadway shows. I played for 3 shows throughout my years in high school. I remember my freshman year they did Pippin, but I couldn't play for it because there were 2 older drummers that had seniority over me. And then my sophomore year, I got to play the percussion book for West Side Story, which was absolutely insane. Absolutely loved that show, but that book was crazy. I definitely faked my way through that as a little sophomore, but it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And, but even at that point, I still it didn't really compute in my mind that, this isn't something that real people do as a job. And then next year, I think it was Footloose, and I got to play the drum set chair. It was a lot of fun. And then the next year, I played the drum set chair for Guys and Dolls, which was also a lot of fun. And for all 3 of those shows, I had a blast. And I think those were like my favorite performances of the school year with the musicals. But it still didn't register in my mind that this is a real job. And then as I was going through college, my freshman year.
So tell me why you chose the University of Rhode Island
right.
And not someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't really. So I ended up having to go there because the only schools I auditioned for were 3 schools here in New York. And now it's very strange again, because at this point, like I said, Broadway wasn't even a thing on my mind at this point. I just always loved New York and I wanted to be there. I knew they had a great music scene. So I was like, this is where I want to go to school. So I auditioned at NYU, Manhattan School of Music, and the New School. And then my parents were like, you have to submit for URI too, just because it's here, And I think they were like, I was very involved in the music scene in Rhode Island. So I think I was given a few little scholarships here and there to URI. So they were like, you need to apply here as well. So I did. And that was it. I didn't get into NYU. I didn't get into Manhattan, but I got into the New School. And I was so excited. I wanted to go so bad. And I was going to go in for jazz. But it was just so expensive that we just couldn't do it. It was ridiculous. I would have walked out over $200,000 in debt. And there's just no way possible. So I was heartbroken, but, understood obviously because that's insane. So I ended up having to go to URI, and I was not very happy with that decision, or that circumstance, because I just kind of wanted to get out of Rhode Island. I had been to URI so many times for different music competitions and whatnot. So I wasn't about it, but in the end, it all worked out, and I had a wonderful time at that school. The professors were wonderful, program was great, and it really I think everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. And during my time at URI, right after high school, I actually got hired to play for this theater in Rhode Island called the Newport Playhouse. So if I ended up going somewhere else, I would have never had that experience. So this was one of the little gateways that kind of sparked my interest in theater a little bit more. I was like, okay, this is cool. So the way this worked out was it's kind of like a dinner theater in Newport, Rhode Island. If you've ever been there, it's beautiful, right on the water. They do a buffet for dinner. Then you go into another room and you watch a play. And then you come back and there's a cabaret. And that's where I would play, would be a drummer, pianist, and then the cast would come up and we would do different songs from different musicals and have different skits in between. So I did that for 4 years throughout my college experience. And I had a blast with that. And a lot of the people that worked there worked at some pretty serious theaters around the country or had done tours before. So I was talking to them about that. And that kind of sparked my interest in Broadway drumming. It's like, okay, so this is something that, I really enjoy. It's something that I could really, put my life's work into. And then as I was going through college even more, I started seeing more shows that were coming through Providence. I remember I saw The Lion King came through. I've always loved The Lion King, so that was huge for me. Wicked came through. I think I saw that twice. And then I remember seeing Rent out of Boston. And that was a show that after watching, I remember leaving the theater and being like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to do that.
I'm sure because it was more of a rock show.
Right. And that's true. Yeah. The energy of it, everything. I was just like, yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. So that's really what got me into this. Yeah. And still to this day, even though I love Broadway so much, and I'm so happy to be doing this, I would still love to play for, other artists too, like do that type of work, like sideman type work. But who knows? Like, I've always just been the type of guy that I just want to play. Man.
All right. So here's the scenario. I have a new show. It's going to be running for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or the drummer for Paramore is out. And he can't play the next tour. One or the other. What are you going to do?
That's tough. That's a gamble.
I'd say you take the Paramore gig because that's the
right. I probably would. I would. My
I would
smart
too.
mind should take that. Right. Yeah. My smart mind would take that 20 years. I mean, you're all set. But I would probably take that gig.
But you can take the Broadway show and then take off. You can always
take time off. Best of both worlds.
Yes, that's one of the great things about Broadway is that you can do that.
Right.
But
exactly.
I always wanted to be a rock star, and I had dreadlocks down to my back, and I was cool. Now, now I'm all wholesome, and got family and stuff.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But my dream is still to play in a big rock band on a big stage.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it's like just once. Just once.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I just want to have that experience. I don't have any desire to be famous, in a famous band, anything like that. I just want to have that experience, playing for an artist and doing that whole thing. It just seems like a really cool, special thing.
Were there any people that you played with in high school or college or shortly thereafter where you played in a big venue and actually kind of had that experience?
Right. Never really a huge venue like that. It's that band that I played with in high school. We did pretty well. And we would, for outdoor gigs, we would have a good amount of people come just because we had so many supporters for us, in our town and, families, everything. So we would have really great crowds like that. But I never really played a big, huge venue like that until I started playing for the theater gigs, Yeah.
So speaking of theater, your introduction to actually becoming a professional working musician was in 2017?
Yeah, 2017, correct. Yeah. So, I graduated from URI in May of 2017. And I didn't mention this to you before, but so I went into URI as a jazz major. I started doing that. And then I ended up, my sophomore year, I really the end of my freshman year, I ended up switching my mind and be you know what, I want to get my education degree. Just in case, because you never know in this business, it's so hard. It's so hard and nothing's guaranteed. So I decided to get that degree just in case as a fallback, just in case performing didn't work out. And that kind of helped me out because I was able to play drum set and do classical percussion. That really helped, make me well-rounded. So fast forward, I get my education degree, graduate. And that whole year, my senior year, I was doing a lot of research online, how to become a Broadway drummer. I was messaging a bunch of different drummers that were on Broadway shows, on Facebook, just trying to get, advice, how do you do this, blah, blah, blah. And then I came across the Playbill website, www.playbill.com. And I noticed that they do have a job section there, if you look, and if you scroll down, there's a musician category. So I found that, and I was looking through that, just kind of refreshing, and every now and then they'll post things where people are looking for musicians. And I knew going into this that usually with Broadway drumming, it's about the connections you make and who you know. And I obviously didn't know anybody at that point, so I was just kind of looking, doing my research. And I saw that there were a few postings for non-equity tours looking for musicians. It was the Dirty Dancing tour was going out. There was another one, and Motown was going out. And I saw that shortly after I graduated. So I was oh, okay. And it was all online audition. So I didn't have to be in New York. I was just in Rhode Island. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. So I submitted for all three of those and just kind of recorded myself with my GoPro. And I had a little 4-track Tascam interface that I would plug into my computer and just record through GarageBand. So I did that, sent away the audition material. I never heard back from the first two. But then I got like a call back, if you will, from Motown. So the first round of the audition was basically they just wanted to see like some examples of your playing. So I sent them a few different styles. And then for the callback, they sent like 3 tunes from the show, and they wanted me to record that. So I did that, and I recorded it over the Broadway recording, I believe, sent that to them. And they liked it, but they wanted me to play to a click, like just click with the music. So did it again, since it was in just a click. Then after it was like 2 months of waiting, I was like, oh, I'm never going to hear back from them. And then I got an email saying that you're hired for the show. And I was like, I was freaking out because this is like literally right after I graduated college. Like I felt very, very, very lucky. And that's exactly how I got my foot into that door. And then that September, we started rehearsals in New York.
That's great. To get a job right out of college, that's pretty impressive. You went on tour with Motown for how long?
It was 9 months. Yeah. And it was so much fun. Like I was such a huge like Michael Jackson fan. Like as a kid growing up, and Jackson 5, and in turn that made me fall in love with the whole Motown, discography of everything. So like to be playing for this, I was in my glory with that. It was so much fun. And
what cities did you guys go to?
We did a lot. I will say though, for it being a non-union bus and truck tour, our schedule was pretty nice. Mostly week fits, but we definitely had some split weeks here and there. Would be like 3 nights here, 2 nights there, 2 nights here, 3 nights there, and then there was only 1 week of like one-nighters where you like have no idea where you're at. But we did. I know we did Boston for a week. We did. We didn't do like any of the huge cities like LA, but we did like Costa Mesa and Thousand Oaks, and we did San Diego, and like we didn't do San Francisco, but we did San Jose, like things like that, those types of cities.
It reminds me of the first tour that I did was with a show called Footloose, and we did a bus and truck tour. And I just remember driving around the United States and seeing the Southwest, and then seeing going from the Northeast, going across the United States, then going to Washington, then coming down the coast, and then going in the Southwest, and going to Texas, and then going up. It's just so many things that you can see. And yeah, we played Peoria, Illinois, and Boise, Idaho.
I had my wallet stolen.
Oh no, really?
In Peoria, Illinois. The band, I had my wallet stolen out of the dressing room. Our bassist had his iPad stolen, and AMD had his laptop stolen as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
So if you play Peoria, Illinois, be careful.
Hold on to your goods. Wow.
Right. Mm-hmm. But those are exactly those are the same cities that we played for sure. Yeah. It was amazing. Like seeing all of that, like you said, like driving around the country and just seeing all the different places was so cool.
So you got done with Motown in 2018.
Yeah, we finished in June. That Motown led right into Something Rotten because it's kind of funny. So go back to May of 2018. We had a layoff from Motown before like the last bit of the tour. So I went home to Rhode Island, and the first national tour, Something Rotten, was in Providence. And it's the same company that was doing Motown. It's Worklight Productions. So I talked to like our company manager, and I was like, hey, like, can I go see this show? And he was like, sure. So they got me a ticket, and I saw the show. I absolutely loved it. It was hilarious. I had no idea what to expect going to see it because Something Rotten, like I had never really heard of it before, and I listened to the music. So I was like, this is interesting. But once I saw the show, it makes so much sense, and it's a blast. So I went up to the MD and introduced myself, told them who I was doing Motown, and he says, oh, I'm going to be on your flight tomorrow back to Toronto. He was coming to see our show to check out what gear from our tour they could take for the second national Something Rotten. So he flies to Toronto with us, and he sits in to our rehearsal. And so he got to know me, and he got to know the MD, the band, and he decided pretty much on the spot to hire our MD from Motown. His name's Matthew Croft, to MD the second national of Something Rotten. And in turn, they ended up taking me along as well. So I think I had booked that basically during the last couple of weeks of our Motown tour. So I knew I was gonna do that with them. So yeah, come June, ended Motown. We had like July and August off, and then like in September, it was back to the races with Something Rotten and rehearsals in the city. Yeah.
So you went on tour with that. It was another bus and truck tour?
Another one. Yeah. Now this was a true bus and truck tour.
Meaning
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Meaning like one-nighters?
So, oh yeah, lots of one-nighters. It was crazy. I remember towards the end of the tour, like we were tired, we were haggard, we weren't looking great. Yeah. It was it was rough. But
before you go on, for those that are just listening to this, a lot of people don't understand. They may not know what a bus and truck tour is.
Sure.
Tell people that are listening or watching what a bus and truck tour is, and how does it work as far as the drums going from place to place. Now, did you have to set them up? And
so, bus and truck tour, basically, it's non-union touring. So it's much lower budget than a union tour, equity tour, if you will, and typically your schedule is pretty scattered and sporadic. You're not going to be sitting in a city for a month. You're not going to be sitting in a city for like rarely 2 weeks. So usually you'll be, go to a smaller town, play it for 3 nights, and then pack up your stuff, go to the next city for the next 2 nights, and you're just bouncing around. And as far as the band goes, for these tours, we had the props department would set up my drums roughly, and then I would just have to go in before sound check, fix everything, make it nice, and then that was it. And then end of the show, when you're packing up from that city, I would have to put the drums away, just because props, they have so much to do afterward, of tearing down the stage as quickly as possible. So you have to put it all away. So with the Rotten tour, it was a lot of set down for sure. But it was good. And there was also like a pit rat that we called it for Motown and Something Rotten. So for Motown, it was our bassist. He would come in before sound check, and he would help set up the keyboard rigs, the pedals, and make sure his rig was all set, and that we had our stands and music were all set. And that was my job for the Something Rotten tour. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Yeah, learned a lot about like main stage and like hooking everything up for keyboard players. So that was a cool experience.
Give me flashbacks, man.
Right? Yeah.
You get there and the times are like this.
Exactly. Yeah, you're like, okay, well, yeah, exactly.
But you kind of understand that they're running around doing a bunch of things, and you kind of get it. Kind of give them a little leeway.
Oh my gosh, they're doing so much, and that you don't realize, like, they're at the theater, like they're not sleeping.
Right.
They're on the sleeper bus, like they're arriving at the theater like 6 a.m., getting up, and like all day they're setting up, and like, so it's just definitely understand like where they're coming from, and like I never minded.
One thing about those tours, you kind of got to have equipment that's going to be durable. Now, what equipment did you use?
Yeah, so for those first 2 tours, Motown and Rotten, the company provided drums for me, so I didn't have to take my personal. They had a kit that I guess came from whatever tour that was before Motown. They used the same kit for Motown and Rotten. It was a Pearl reference 5-piece kit, so it was a great kit, great kit. And for the first tour, they provided cymbals too. It was like Zildjian Dark K's I was using for Motown. Really great kit. And they had 2 big drum cases for me. So I would just have to like put them in there, put the hardware in, close them up, and then the crew would take care of rolling that on the truck. So I never had to deal with any of that. And then for the Rotten tour, I ended up taking my own cymbals, but that was it. I just had my big cymbal bag and would put it in there, and they would take care of it.
Yeah, you have a hard case or a soft case? Okay.
Hard case. Yeah, definitely need a hard case for these tours, because there's just so much being thrown onto these trucks, but you have no idea where it's going, how it's being played. So always hard case is the way to go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
After Something Rotten, you got Summer.
Yeah.
Same company, or how'd that all happen?
Different company. Yeah. So all of it's all connected. Something Rotten was like a 10-month tour. And then actually it was during Rotten. I want to say it was like in the springtime. I got a phone call. We were playing a show and I got this phone call from New York. So I saw my phone on the side ring. I was like, I wonder who that is. And this person left a message. So I remember it was like between scenes, there was a bit of a dialogue scene. So I listened to what the message was, and it was John Miller asking me if I would be interested in playing for the Donna Summer Musical. And I like totally freaked out. I was like, yes. And the way that my name got to him was that MD from the first National Something Rotten, his name's Brian Kennedy. He was talking to Miller, I guess, and was throwing some names out there, and he like kind of vouched for me and sent him my information. So this is Jesse Ray. Sent him my email, my number. And I think I had reached out to John as well a while before that, but I'd never heard anything back. And I figured as much because he's so busy and is dealing with so many people. But I guess the connection between Brian and maybe me reaching out to him, he decided to take a chance on me, I guess. So that's how that all came about. So I accepted that. And we stopped Something Rotten in, I want to say it was like, I think it was July 1st we were done. I had July and like the first 2 weeks of August off, and then we started mid-August of 2019. Yeah.
So before we get to 2019 and something that happened in 2020, we met and you came to see Ain't Too Proud.
Actually, it's funny. Yesterday, I was looking at my phone and I got a memory pop up. Exactly 2 years ago, yesterday is when I met you and sat in the pit.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It was September 13th. Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. Now,
I know
we have a connection, not only because I did a lot of stuff in Rhode Island, but I can't remember how you know Parker Reed, right?
Right. So, you're right. So, my senior year of college, like I said, I had switched to music education. So my last 2 months of my senior year was student teaching, and I was student teaching at Barrington High School, where Parker is a student. So, I was like his student teacher for a couple of months, and I remember. I remember working with him, and then the year after I did Motown, the teacher I was teaching with, her name is Barbara Hughes at that school. She reached out and was like, Parker's interested in Broadway drumming. Like, we'd love to talk to you if that's possible. So I met with him for lunch one day. And I can't remember how I brought that up to you, but you know his father, right?
That's correct. And
that's so funny.
known Park, the band that I played with in Rhode Island was Evil Twins, and Oliver Reed. Okay. Oliver Reed was the guitarist.
I see.
So that's the whole Providence thing. He's still teaching in Rhode Island, and Parker is at SUNY Purchase in his second year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've been following Parker on Instagram. He seems like he's been doing really well.
Yeah, I finally, my girlfriend and I were trying to get him to post things on Instagram, and he's like, I don't really know how to do it. And so he finally started posting stuff. I'm like, yes, because he's really good, and I like this thing that he's posting. And the whole thing that I was going to bring up is, you and the MD for I guess it was Something Rotten, and reaching out to John Miller. If someone is on your mind, they're going to remember you, and they're going to reach out to you to say, well, I just was talking to somebody. Right. Let's see if they're interested in doing the summer musical. So it's all part of networking.
Right.
Now, I can't remember how, I don't know if you reached out to me on Instagram or was it through Facebook or I can't remember how.
Yeah, I think it was on Facebook. Yeah, I think I added you and I ended up writing a message to you, and you were like, you were super sweet about it. I'm like, please come sit. I think I'm pretty sure that's how I initially reached out to you. Okay. Yeah, it never hurts. Like the way that I always viewed it was like, what's the worst they're gonna do? Say no. At least you tried, right? You know, because if I never did that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
That's correct.
You would have no idea. You would have no idea who I am.
2019. Did you go and see other shows when you were in town, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, for all three of those shows when I was like here in the city rehearsing, I made sure to see a bunch. Like I saw the band's visit when it was here. Sat in the pit with you. I think the same year I sat in with you, I sat in with Matt over at Wicked. That was my first time sitting in the Wicked pit. That was awesome. Great experience. Such a nice dude. Yeah, really, really nice. What else did I see? Yeah, I definitely saw a bunch. I saw Mean Girls. I saw Kinky Boots before it closed. So definitely took advantage of being here while I was in the area. Mm-hmm.
So you went out on tour with Donna Summer.
Yeah. Yep. So started summer. Yeah, we started rehearsals mid-August. And then we were out. And this was my first equity union gig. So no more bus and truck, which was lovely. And yeah, we hit some good cities. We did Cleveland, got to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That was great.
Yes.
We did, we teched in Rochester. That was first, Rochester, New York. We were in LA for like a month, which was amazing. Maybe three weeks maybe, at the Pantages, like gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a great theater.
That was a blast. We did San Francisco for a full month.
All right, where'd you play in San Francisco? Was it in the Tenderloin district?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
I heard it's even worse now, but
it's bad. That was honestly the worst like little area that I've experienced in the city in a long time. I thought where we played in Baltimore, I thought that was bad, like by the Hippodrome, if you ever played there, like that area was really rough. This was different. Yeah, and we were there for a whole month, like around Christmas time. And I remember walking, I think it's called Market Street, which is the main strip there. And I was just walking down after dinner, like right before the show was starting. Right across the street, I hear pop, 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 3 gunshots, and like everybody starts running.
What?
It was like heart drop, because you never know. You hear all these things going on with gun violence. It's just like your heart, like it was just a crazy feeling. It was just it was like gang violence in the area. They weren't shooting at anybody, but it was scary. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Really, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I've heard like people stepping over people and trying to step over feces and all that.
That too. That too. Mm-hmm.
Violence like that? Damn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Yeah. I think we played at Golden Gate. I think that's what the theater's called. It was just down the street from where Hamilton's playing at the Orpheum.
Oh, yeah.
Not too far from there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were like right in that little area. So yeah, it was an interesting month for sure.
I gotta say, I love the city of San Francisco. I think it's beautiful.
Me too. It is.
There's so much to see in Golden Gate Park. I love it, but man, there's just certain things that they could fix.
Absolutely, yeah, and I really hope they do, because it's such a unique city. There's no other city like San Francisco that looks like that. It's really beautiful and amazing. So yeah, I really hope so that they can turn that around. Yeah,
you survived the gunshots in San Francisco.
I did. Made it through. We prevailed.
And you wound up going to various cities and
a few other cities. Yeah, we got a good 6 months out of it, and then so. Right around the time the pandemic was hitting, like when things like first started, it's kind of weird. So we had a week layoff the first week of March, and I went to London on a trip. So and this is like when things weren't shut down yet, but like things were weird. People were starting to wear masks in public, wearing gloves. Like it was just like very strange. So I was in London for the first week of March, came back, and we were playing Toronto. We're going to be playing Toronto for 2 weeks. So we hit Toronto, and then now things are getting serious in the United States, and things are shutting down. New York's shutting down. The national tours are shutting down, but like we were still kind of just like floating around and like still doing our thing because we were in Canada. Like, it was just, they didn't shut things down yet. So we played, it was that second week of March. We played Tuesday through Friday night, and then that Saturday morning, we got the email that Toronto's pulling the plug. So that was it, yeah. And then next day on a plane home, and I'm sitting in my parents' house in Rhode Island for the next year and a half.
Wow. Okay, and that's where we are right now.
Right. Yeah.
So when you were in Rhode Island,
Mm-hmm.
tell me how you got. So look, you started out playing in elementary school and high school bands, and then you go to college, you get your degree.
Yeah.
Then you get out, you do a bus and truck tour of Motown, then you do Something Rotten, which was a little, more bus and truck toury.
Yeah.
Then you get a
100%.
real gig, a real equity gig with Summer that's like, okay, it's getting better and better. Then stuff happens like with all of us, and you go back home.
Yeah.
Then you move to the next level. Tell me about this K-pop thing.
Right. So, so K-pop, this all happened through my MD from the Donna Summer Musical. So while we were on the road, she already knew that she was going to be involved in this show. She was hired as the AMD for K-pop that's coming to Broadway. So I knew about that, and like we never talked about it or anything. Like I knew that she had it. I was so happy for her. And then when I was home, like after the pandemic, it was like a couple months later, she texted me and she was like, our MD for this show doesn't really have a drummer in mind that they want to use. So I'm going to give them your name, and, we'll see what happens. Like if you just play for like, the workshop, like, that would be a great opportunity for you. Like, I don't know if you would be able to be hired for the chair, but just wanted to let you know, like, I'm putting your name in. So I was like, great, that's amazing. And then a couple of months later, several months later, I think it was last December, she called me and said that they're going to take you in on this. So she's the one that vouched for me, and I owe her so much for that. And then I got a call from the contractors. I believe it was February of 2021. It must have been, February 2021. So I got the official call. So we're going to be starting that, and now things are just crazy. So we were supposed to start rehearsals this November and do an out of town in DC in December, but it already got canceled for COVID concerns and whatnot. So it's still like, a crazy game over here trying to figure things out. But we are still going to start some work sessions in the city, November through December, just kind of to start get things rolling, because they've been trying to like really get something together for a long time. K-pop did an off-Broadway run, I believe it was 2017 at Ars Nova. And I think it did pretty well. So these past couple of years, they've been trying to develop it for Broadway. And now we've just had so many obstacles with COVID and like trying to get things running. So I'm just looking forward to like getting in the room and like being able to work on a little something for the time being. And then I don't think we're going to officially open until next August, or start rehearsals next August. Yeah, it's going to be a while. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to be a while from now, but you have something else happening. You just stuff just keeps falling in your lap.
Right.
Attracting that good energy. I guess you attract good energy, which is great. So
I guess.
Tell me what just happened.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can mention like names of titles of things yet, because I don't know what's announced. But I will say, so literally, I was I just got an email a couple of days ago from a contractor here. And she said that my name came highly recommended from Ron Melrose, who was the music supervisor for Donna Summer, and Brian Kennedy, again, who was that MD for the first National Something Rotten that kind of helped me get onto Summer. Like I owe him a lot as well. So they talked to her about me, and there's a new show being developed for Broadway that's supposed to be opening in March. And they are going to be doing a little work session out of town this October. So I just got confirmed for that. Now, it's not confirmed that I'm going to be going to Broadway with the show just yet, but this is kind of like my audition, if you will, I guess, into it. So I need to bring it for this little out of town in October, and then we'll see. Fingers crossed. Hopefully there will be another show happening for me this coming March, which would be really fantastic. I hope so. Yeah.
That's great. That's great to hear. Congratulations, and I hope it
thank you so much.
All works out. And the thing that
thank you.
You'll probably be able to take away from a lot of the interviews that I do on this podcast is that drummers generally are connected to music directors.
Yeah.
And you tend to go from show to show to show with them. And
Right.
that's kind of what happened with me with Kenny Seymour and doing Memphis and now Ain't Too Proud and hopefully some other things. But a lot of drummers connect with a certain person. And if you have that good working relationship and you guys know each other, because generally when you do certain workshops or readings, when you're doing those things, the music director wants to know that you can kind of read their mind and know what they want, and that's good for them. It makes their job easier when they're dealing with choreographers and directors. So I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons why you keep moving from thing to thing.
Right. Yeah.
What's his name again?
Thank you,
Brian.
Brian Kennedy. Yeah.
Brian Kennedy. Yes. That's great.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that you could tell younger people that are younger than yourself about doing shows, what do you think is the most important thing that a young drummer should know about playing in musicals at this level?
Sure. Yeah. The first thing, like getting into it, like if this is something you really want to do, I definitely want to stress that you don't initially need to be in New York to do this. Like coming from me, like I was just in my parents' house in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, and got my foot in the door with this non-union show that then opened bigger doors for me. Like right now at the age of the internet, like it's much easier to be able to audition from home and show what you have to offer. So I definitely want to stress that because I know how expensive New York is and how daunting that can be for a young person, like trying to make a living and moving here and spending all that money. It's tough. It's not easy. So I definitely want to stress that it's possible to do it elsewhere as well. And then once you do get into it, you need to know that it's not just about being a good drummer. It's about being a great person, about being an even better person, and being somebody that people want to be around, because if you're not, then you're not going to get the call back to do that show. Nobody's going to want to be stuck on a bus with you for 9 months. If you're not, a decent person and you don't, help bring joy to the team and, just spread positivity, because if you don't, people just kind of, no matter how good you are and how amazing you are, they're not going to want to hire you back. So that's definitely a key for me as being a musician. And that goes for any musician, not just being a drummer in any kind of playing scenario, really, if you want to get the call back. Yeah.
Some of the mistakes that you made over the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you could share with somebody to say, what, probably shouldn't do that?
Right. Yeah. Not doing it definitely. Don't get too comfortable. And I don't mean like, of course you want to be comfortable with your book and know it well and, be solid with it. But what I mean is, you don't want to get lazy, start zoning out, especially in between scenes. Because, after playing show number 235, it could be very easy to fall into the pattern of, I'm not really feeling it tonight, and what's going on my phone, what's going on Instagram between scenes, and then before you know it, you missed the cue. I remember one time something rotten. There was a cue where usually we were on a click, so usually you would hear like a 3, 4 into it. And there was the one cue where like it was just like you have to watch the conductor, like you have to really watch, and then it's just like 2 little hits. I was like, Shakespeare, hit that, and I was just like totally zoned out, missed it. It was like our first show too. It was like our opening show, and I was like, got it. So definitely don't do that. You always, no matter what, you always need to be on your toes. Because you never know what's going to happen, especially like things always happen on stage that are sometimes out of your control. If like an actor misses an entrance or something, like you need to be right there and ready to do whatever needs to be done to keep the show moving along. Yeah.
What kind of gear do you prefer or like or have? Or all three?
Yeah. So yeah, sure. So I have a few different endorsements with some drum companies. So the first one I got was during Something Rotten, I've been using phosphorus cymbals for the past 3 years. Handmade in Istanbul, Turkey. They're a wonderful company to work with. And I remember playing a lot of their cymbals when I was in high school. My band director had a bunch of their cymbals. So I had reached out to them and told them what I do, and it just kind of worked out. So phosphorus cymbals. This past year, I've been linked up with Los Cabos Drum Kit. They are a drum company that's up and coming in Canada. I got that connection through Q Robinson, who you know as well. He has a good friend that is an artist with them, and they were looking for more drummers to join their roster. So they thought that it'd be cool to have a theater drummer, because they don't really have many Broadway theater drummers on their roster. So I've been using their stuff, which is fantastic. And I've been using SJC drums. SJC, it's this like boutique drum company out of Massachusetts, and they make a lot of drums for my guys, the pop punk drummers. Like Trey Cool from Green Day uses their drums. Cyrus Baluki from this band called Newfound Glory, he uses their drums. They kind of cater to that style. And I always loved their drums, so I ended up reaching out to them, and it just kind of ended up working out. Because same thing, they don't have any theater drummers either, really, on their roster. So they were down for it. So I got this beautiful, like this blue teal oyster wrap on this 5-piece drum set. Oh, and I actually just had them make an 8-inch tom and a little 10-inch snare drum too, for K-pop when that happens next year. So definitely excited for that. So those are the big three that I use. And I always use Remo drum heads as well.
That's very cool, man. SJC.
Yeah. SJC. Yeah, they're a really great company. Yeah, have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
Yeah, definitely look them up. Yeah, they make some really cool stuff, and they do some really cool custom kits.
So what does the SJ? Is it somebody's initials? SJC?
Yeah, it's the owner's initials. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, SJC. Yeah. They're based. Yeah, I haven't been to their factory yet. I really want to, because it's not that far from where my parents live. But yeah, they're located right in Massachusetts, and they make some really, really great drums. Yeah, I'll have to send you some stuff of theirs. They're doing some cool stuff. Mm-hmm.
I tend to look at your Instagram feed from time to time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people that want to do theater, they tend to play a lot of stuff from theater, but I tend to gravitate towards those that don't. And I like the fact that you're playing other things, and it's more interesting to me. Just my opinion. I just like.
Yeah.
So as far as your social media, where can people find you?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So I'm mainly active on Instagram. It's just my name at Jesse Ray Leich. It's JESSERAYLEICH. And then also I'm on Facebook too. You can just look at my name, JESSE-RAYLEICH. Those are the two that I use. I have a Twitter too, but I'm not really active on there. So definitely, if you want to reach out, Facebook or Instagram is the way to go. And I do have a website as well. It's www.jesseraydrums.com.
No TikTok?
Yeah. No TikTok. I do have a TikTok, but I'm not really active on it. Yeah, I tried to put some videos on, but I don't know what it is. I can't get into these other people are doing. There's some amazing stuff on TikTok. I've seen some great drummer videos on TikTok, but I just couldn't figure out that algorithm. So I was just I'm going to stick to Instagram. That's what, just throw up the video, do it. But I mean, yeah, there's some really cool things that drummers and musicians are doing on TikTok for sure.
Snapchat?
Not for me yet. Snapchat? No Snapchat. Yeah.
My kids try to, they don't really keep me up with all this stuff, but I try to look at TikTok, and I'm too old for Snapchat. And even for TikTok, it's really not for me. You got to do so much in order to get people's attention. I don't have the time to put 1 second videos, and I'm like, you know what?
That's the thing. You need to find something that's really creative and that's going to catch in order to go viral if you want to get to that level.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny actually. One of the actors from our Something Rotten tour, he is super TikTok famous right now. I don't know if you've seen him. It's this guy. He has the mustache, but he'll dress up and do scenes from movies, like do full scenes from movies, like just him. He'll have the outfit on, then he'll be in another outfit. Like it's incredible what he does, but he is absolutely TikTok certified famous now. So funny.
Well, you're going to be certifiably Broadway Drumming 101 famous.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Broadway famous. Congratulations to
hopefully
your new endeavors, and I hope
thank you so much.
The new thing that comes in March is going to be a smash, and you're on the show.
Thank you.
And
thank you. Me too.
I hope K-pop runs for 20 years.
Yeah, that would be that's the dream.
And then in between, you're gonna have your own punk pop thing.
Right. Yes. You're getting tickets, VIP treatment, all of it.
Me in the front row, like, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jesse Ray. Do people call you Jesse or just Jesse Ray?
Of course. Yeah, Jesse Ray. Yeah, either one. Totally fine.
Well, thank you, Jesse Ray, for being a part of Broadway Drumming 101.
Thank you.
Definitely reach out to Jesse Ray for more of and check out his social media. He's a great drummer. He's fantastic, great person, as you know right now. And
thank you.
We will definitely be talking soon.
Yes, please. That sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. This is my first podcasting experience, and you made it really, really fun. So I really appreciate it, Clayton.
Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.
If you like what you hear on the show, subscribe to the Broadway Drumming 101 newsletter at broadwaydrumming101.substack.com. That's Substack, substack.com. The Broadway Drumming 101 newsletter is your one-stop shop for everything you'll need to know about playing drums for Broadway musicals. When you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll learn about what it takes to be a successful pit musician with content delivered directly to your email inbox 2 to 3 times a week. For $5 a month or $50 a year, you'll have a backstage pass to the world of a Broadway drummer playing on a hit show. As a paying subscriber, you'll receive behind-the-scenes access to the life of a musician who makes a living on Broadway. You'll also be able to read every post, not just those occasional free ones. You'll get access to all newsletter issues in the archives and have an ability to participate in subscriber-only comments and events. If you become a founding member for a gift of only $75, you'll receive discounted private drum lessons, an opportunity to watch Clayton play in the pit of his show, and a 25% discount on future promotional products. If you'd like to make a direct contribution to the production of this show, you can reach us at Venmo at Clayton-Craddock, Cash App at Syncopated, that's CINCOPATED, or PayPal at Clayton Craddock. Any amount of support will be appreciated. Thank you for listening.